Okay guys, today I'm going to walk you through percent of change, which we've been talking about the percent of a number. Percent of change is a little bit easier. We're still looking at percents, and percent is out of 100. Okay, so for the percent of change, we have a formula, and I like to say just do. D-O. D on top, O on the bottom. But the D really doesn't mean do. It means to find the difference. And how do you find the difference between two numbers? Yeah, you subtract. So difference over original. Original is going to be what we start with. So if you don't remember difference, it's just subtraction. Okay? Once we get our answer is going to be in a fraction. A fraction is a division problem, so I need my answer to be in decimal form. Now to turn it into a decimal, you can do division or you can use place value. And I'm going to review with you how to do both because it's been a while since we've done division. But sometimes there's an easier way, and we're going to look at an example in a second that does that for you. Okay? After you have your answer in a decimal, because it's percent, you then need to multiply by 100. Now, earlier this week we talked about dividing by 100, and we said that when you divide by 100, you're really just moving your decimal to the left. So if we multiply, we're actually going to move the decimal. We're still going to go two places because it's 100, but this time we're going to go to the right. Okay? So we're moving our decimal, and that's an L, you can't see it very good. Move our decimal. This time we're going to go 2 to the right. Now, if you don't believe this, or if you feel more comfortable multiplying by 100, please do that. Okay, this is just kind of a trick, a shortcut. We're doing the exact same thing. So, let's fill in some blanks. It says, if the change goes up, oh, that marker's not good. If the change goes up, this is going to actually be what we call an increase, which you should have heard of that word. We talked about it at the beginning of school with integers. Now, if our change goes down, it's called a decrease. We could be talking about things like your grades, your averages on a test, your weight, the money that you have in a bank account, the sale price of an item, your salary or your pay that you make when you get a job. So this is very practical, real world. So definitely need to know how to do this. Now if we move on with our notes, it says percent increase and decrease are measures of percent change. So obviously when something changes, it can either increase or decrease, which is an extent to which something gains. So gain is just another way of saying increase or go up. And then the opposite is lose. So if it gains or loses value. The stock market is a great example because it gains points, it loses points. Percent changes are useful to helping people understand changes in value over time. All right, let's look at two examples together. Example 1. Anna works in a supermarket for $10 per hour. Now, just problem-solving strategies. Per means either one or that you're going to multiply. So, $10 per hour. And then it says if her pay is increased, which means it went up. And obviously, 12 is an increase. It went up to 12. What is her percent increase in pay? Well, the first thing I need to do is look at my formula. And we just wrote our formula is do. D-O. Just do. The D is really difference. And once you memorize this, you don't have to write this out every time, but I do at least want you to write do so you remember. So our difference, we have a 10 and we have a 12. So the difference is 2. And we put the difference over our original. Our original pay was $10, so $10. Now, if you've been following along and working on your place value, I know that this number says 2/10. So that I also know I can write 2/10 like this. If I'm not real good with my place value, I would need to do division, okay? And I'm going to show you just for those people who are not real good with place value. And this is going to be an encouragement to get better at place value, okay? The 2 goes inside. Remember, top goes in, bottom goes out. Cowboy horse, whatever you want to do. 10 does not go into 2, so I have to put a 0 and a decimal. Now, I can't just call it a day because I don't need a remainder. And right now, I still have this 2 just hanging out. So I'm going to add a 0 inside. How many 10s are in 20? 2. I multiply, I get 20. I get a 0, I'm done. Did I get the same answer both ways? Yes. Now my formula says after I get it as a decimal, I have to multiply by 100 or move my decimal 2 to the right. Well, to me, it's a lot easier to just move the decimal. So I'm going to take my pencil, put it on my decimal. I'm going to go 1 hop, 2 hops. Now my decimal's not here anymore, so I like to exit out so I don't get confused. And my decimal's over here. But my answer is not 20, it's not 2%, sorry. I have to fill in this little loop so it actually makes it 20. And remember, Miss Davis does not like naked numbers, so you always got to put clothes on your numbers. This 20 is $20, 20%, 20 days, 20 miles. Well, the question said percent increase, so I know that it is percent. So the answer to this question is 20%. All right, let's try one last example before I let you do some by yourself. Example number 2. The staff at a company went from 40 to 29 employees. I want to know the percent, so I know my answer is going to be a percent, and I know that my percent decreased. So I'm going to do my formula, do difference over original. Okay, the difference between these two numbers, the difference I subtract, and I know the difference is 11. Now I have to figure out which one of these numbers is the original. Well, it says it went from 40, so 40 must be my original. Another hint is that I know that this percent was decreased. So I know that this number was the original because the other number went down. So I'm looking for the number I started with. Now this one's not quite as nice and easy because I can't just write 0.11 because it's not out of tenths, the tenths place. So this is just a regular fraction, so I'm going to have to do division. Remember, top goes in, bottom goes out, or cowboy horse. So 11 goes in. 40 goes out. Now you want to be real careful to make sure you line up your decimals and line up on top of the correct number. Does 4 go into 1? No. Does 4 go into 11? No. Put a little X there. You can put a 0 if you want. But then I have to put a decimal here. Okay? When I put a decimal up top, I can add a 0 inside. How many 40s are in 110? Well, you probably don't know your 40s real well. So if you struggle, you can write them down so that you don't have to keep going back and forth. 40, 80, 120. Well, I know that 120 is too much, so it can go in there 2 times. And I know that if it goes in there 2 times, that's 80. So I'm going to subtract, and I get 3, 0. Again, I don't want a remainder. So I'm going to add another 0 inside, and I'm going to bring that guy straight down. So now I need to know how many 40s are in 300. Well, let me just keep counting. And I'm going to kind of ignore the zeros, and I'm just going to count by 4s. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, we're getting closer, 28, 32, uh-oh, that's too much. So I know that 280 is as close as I can get. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, if you know your multiplication well, which most of you probably do, you don't need to do this, okay? Just multiply like you know how to do and divide like you know how to do. But again, if you're struggling, this is a good way to get your problem done quickly without wasting a lot of time. When I subtract, I get a 20, but I can't have a remainder. So I can add another 0, and I bring it down. Well, if I look over here, I already got to 200 right here. So I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it equals 200. And I have my 0, so I am done. So 275 thousandths. Now, do you think that is all? If you're not sure, let's look back at our formula. Our formula said we multiply by 100, or we just move our decimal to the right. So I have the number 275 thousandths, and I know that because it's in the thousandths place. But I need to move it 2 places to the right or multiply by 100. So I'm going to take my decimal, move it once, move it twice, X this guy out because he's not there anymore. So now my answer is 27 and 0.5%. You could also say 27 and a half. Okay? So we looked at one increase and one decrease. We looked at one where it was nice and easy because of place value, and we looked at another one where it was not quite so nice and easy. So now you should be able to finish this, and we're going to continue this next week on percent of change. If you have any questions, be sure and email me, and I look forward to seeing how you did on Monday.